Hello all, Alex Ward here with Matrix Amplification, and today we're going to be taking a look at the FR10 full range flat response active monitor. Now for those of you who aren't familiar with full range and flat response cabinets, what it means is that compared to a traditional guitar cab, these specific cabinets have a much larger frequency range. So the FR10 in particular has a range from 50 Hz down to the low end up to 20 kHz up in the high end. Now being an FRFR monitor, the FR10 is designed specifically to work with amp modelers, such as the Fractal Audio Axe Fx, the Kemper Profiler, the Line 6 Helix, etc, etc, etc. And what it means is that the patches that you dial in are going to sound just as you intended them to. So if you dialed, say, 7 on the mids, that's what you're going to get. You're not going to get a hyped mid, you're not going to get a cut mid. It's going to sound just how you intended it to sound. The flat response part of the equation means that across this frequency range, there aren't any hyped frequencies such as mid bumps or mid cuts or high boosts or high cuts, low boosts, none of that. It's flat within plus or minus 2 dB across the entire frequency range. The FR10 features a 10-inch bass driver and a 1-inch compression driver, which means you get great bass response as well as a crystal clear, clean sound across a breadth of volumes. And with a 300 watt fanless power amp driving the sound, it means that this thing can really get loud, meaning that it can compete with a loud drummer in a rehearsal or even at a live gig. Not only that, but the cabinet comes with 3 DSP modes which are accessible via a button on the back. Now DSP stands for Digital Signal Processing, and 3 modes have different frequency responses for different occasions. So when you turn the cabinet on, it defaults to flat mode, which is just the normal FRFR mode. It sounds great with all models. Now if you press the button, the light will flash and you'll hear 2 beeps, which sound like this. And this means you're now in the loudness correction mode, or equal loudness mode. Now what this mode does is it compensates for the Fletcher-Munson effect. So if you've created your patches at really loud levels and they're sounding absolutely great and they're working live for you, but when you get home and you want to practice, they're not really sounding any good at low volumes, what you do is you press this mode and the frequency response alters itself so that it sounds more like what you were hearing at loud volumes, which means this is a really versatile cab for home and live use. Now if you press the button again, you're going to get some more flashes and you're going to get 3 beeps. This means you're in DSP mode 3, which is the low cut mode. Now what this means is that if you're in a rehearsal room where it's quite bass heavy, or a venue where it's quite booming, and you don't particularly want much low end coming out of your cabinet because it's just getting lost in the mix, stick this mode on and it cuts everything below 100 Hz and your tones should fit better in the mix in that situation. So again, this is a really versatile cab for any situation you might find yourself in. Not only that, this thing only weighs 9.7 kilograms, which is achieved by using lightweight tone woods and a custom neodymium speaker. Now this means that you can take it anywhere, it fits in your boot. I mean, look at it compared to this traditional guitar cab that you might be used to. I mean, it is so small, but it packs a punch because of that 300 watt power. It's going to slay live. So let's get the Axe Fx2 hooked up to it. You're only going to need a guitar cable coming out of the Axe Fx2 into the cabinet because you're effectively going from a preamp into a power amp. You're not going from a power amp into a speaker. So you don't need a speaker cable, instrument cable will do just fine. But you can also use a speak-on because the input on the back is a combi jack, which is nice and useful. It also has a link out, which means that you can take the signal from your modeler, pass it through the cabinet into, say, a mixing desk for your in-ear monitors or out to front of the house if that's how you want to do it. Now, one thing to note is that because this is an FRFR monitor, you can't really mic it up in a traditional way because what you're hearing is an already mic'd up sound from the modeler. So what we're using here is an Audio-Technica AT2020 cardioid condenser microphone, and we're going to place it a couple of feet away from the cabinet to get all the frequency response as much as we can. But it doesn't really compare to how it sounds with your own ears in the room, so we encourage you to listen to it in person if you can. So without further ado, let's check it out, see how it sounds. So there you have it, the Matrix FR10 active FRFR monitor powering the Axe Fx 2, and as you can hear, you're getting a really crystal clear sound. It's really clean across all the frequency ranges, and all my patches there, the clean, the dirty, the crunch, they all sound exactly as I intended them to sound. So in the room, it was just marvellous to play with. I could play with this for hours, you know. And not only that, it was bloody loud. So I think I'm going to have to go and apologise to my neighbours. So in the meantime, I'll do that. And until next time, take it easy.